Back when money was scarce and every meal had to stretch, our grandparents turned to the soil. They grew crops that were dependable, filling, and cheap to keep on the table. These weren't fancy foods, but they filled stomachs, built strength, and brought families together around the kitchen table. Today, many of these humble crops are overlooked, but in those days, they were lifelines. Let's take a trip back and remember the 20 garden staples that could feed a whole family on just pennies. Kennebec potato. The Kennebec potato was a steady presence in many backyard gardens. Its creamy white flesh cooked up beautifully, whether boiled, mashed, or fried. Grandparents loved it because it stored well in a cool, dry place, meaning it could last through winter without spoiling. This variety was also resistant to disease, so even in years when other potatoes failed, the Kennebec often pulled through. Families would plant long rows, harvest them by the sackful, and pile them in root cellars. Come supper time, they could be turned into hearty stews, crispy fried slices, or simple baked potatoes with a bit of butter. In lean years, the Kennebec was more than just food. It was security on a plate, proof that the garden could keep hunger at bay when money was short. Utah 5270. Celery. Utah 5270 celery was the dependable variety for home gardeners who wanted crisp, flavorful stalks. Its tall, sturdy stems had a clean, fresh taste that brightened soups, stews, and salads. Families often chopped the leaves for seasoning, making use of every part of the plant. This variety was known for its resistance to bolting and its ability to hold flavor even in warm weather. In a time when store-bought celery was a luxury, growing it at home meant an affordable source of crunch and flavor. Gardeners appreciated its consistent yields and long harvest window, often pulling fresh stalks well into the season. Utah 5270 celery brought a touch of freshness to meals that might otherwise be heavy, proving its worth in kitchens determined to make the most of every garden row. Walla onion. Sweet, mild, and bursting with flavor, the Walla onion was treasured in Grandma's kitchen. Its large golden bulbs were a joy to slice into, adding a gentle sweetness to soups, stews, and roasted vegetables. Unlike sharper onions, Wallas could be eaten raw in sandwiches or fresh salads without overpowering the dish. Gardeners loved them for their size and dependability, often pulling up onions as big as a fist. They were not the longest-storing onions, but during harvest season, they were eaten daily and in generous portions. In a time when seasoning options were limited, the Walla brought life to simple Depression-era meals. Whether grilled alongside garden vegetables or tucked into a pot roast, it was a crop that turned even the most humble ingredients into something memorable and deeply satisfying. Roma Tomato. Roma tomatoes were a workhorse in the garden, grown for their thick flesh and low water content. That made them perfect for sauces, soups, and canning, the kinds of meals that could feed a crowd with just a few ingredients. Their rich, tangy flavor gave depth to homemade pasta sauces and stews, and when simmered down, they made the base for hearty winter meals. In the summer, baskets of Romas would be lined up on porches to ripen in the sun, ready for canning day. Families would work together, filling jar after jar, sealing them to last until the next harvest. They were easy to grow, productive, and reliable, making them a staple in Victory Gardens and Depression-era plots alike. Roma tomatoes were not just a crop, they were the foundation of countless, comforting, budget-friendly meals. Scarlet Nantes carrot. The Scarlet Nantes carrot was beloved for its sweet flavor and tender texture. Its bright orange roots grew straight and smooth, making them easy to clean and prepare. Families enjoyed them fresh from the garden, roasted with herbs, or sliced into soups and stews. This variety was also excellent for storage, keeping its flavor and texture for months when stored in a cool cellar. Its reliable performance and resistance to splitting made it a favorite among home gardeners. In tough times, Scarlet Nantes carrots offered a dependable supply of vitamins and flavor, brightening meals through the winter. Whether eaten raw for a crisp snack or cooked slowly in a hearty stew, these carrots prove that humble vegetables could bring both nourishment and joy to the table, season after season. Navy bean. The navy bean earned its place in the family garden for one simple reason. It was filling and lasted forever when dried. Once harvested, these small, creamy beans could be stored in cloth sacks or glass jars, ready to be used in soups, baked dishes, or simple bean stews. They were an affordable source of protein at a time when meat was often too costly to buy. Families would soak them overnight, then cook them slowly until tender, often with just onions, herbs, and maybe a bit of salt pork if it was available. They could stretch a small meal into something that fed the whole household. In hard times, the navy bean was a quiet hero, helping families stay fed without breaking the budget, a dependable friend through long winters and empty pockets. Texas early white onion. The Texas early white onion was a favorite for its crisp texture, mild flavor, and early maturity. Gardeners loved how quickly it grew, providing fresh onions before many other varieties were ready. Its pure white bulbs were perfect for slicing into salads, adding to sandwiches, or sautéing for stews and roasts. In the Depression era, this onion was more than just a seasoning. It was a staple that could elevate the simplest meals. It stored moderately well, giving families a fresh taste of the garden weeks after harvest. Easy to grow in a variety of soils, it thrived in both small plots and larger homesteads. For many, the Texas early white onion was a dependable sign of the growing season's success, brightening the table with both flavor and freshness. Black Beauty zucchini. Black Beauty zucchini was a garden workhorse, producing abundant, glossy dark green fruits throughout the summer. Its versatility made it a Depression-era favorite. The zucchini could be sautéed, fried, baked into breads, or preserved for winter meals. Gardeners loved how quickly it matured, often producing within weeks of planting, and how it kept producing with regular harvesting. Even when resources were tight, this prolific plant could feed a family with little more than sun, water, and care. Black Beauty's tender skin and mild flavor meant it fit seamlessly into both savory and sweet recipes. In times when variety on the table was a luxury, zucchini offered endless possibilities from one humble plant. It was a dependable source of nourishment, proof that abundance could come from the simplest seeds. Iceberg lettuce. Iceberg lettuce brought a crisp, refreshing crunch to the table. While it was not as nutrient-rich as some other greens, its cool, mild taste made it a favorite in salads and sandwiches. In Grandma's garden, rows of tightly packed green heads were carefully tended, harvested when firm and full. During the Great Depression, fresh vegetables were a welcome treat, and iceberg lettuce could be grown quickly and in large quantities. Families would use it to stretch other ingredients, making small amounts of meat or cheese go further in sandwiches, or serving it with homemade dressings to add variety to meals. Its long storage life in cool conditions meant it could be kept fresh for days. For many, iceberg lettuce was a reminder that even in lean times, you could still enjoy something crisp, fresh, and straight from the garden. Red Creole onion. The red Creole onion stood out with its vibrant burgundy skin and sharp, distinctive flavor. This heat-tolerant variety thrived in warmer climates, making it a reliable choice for southern gardens. Known for its long storage life, it could be harvested in summer and still be flavorful months later. During the Depression, its ability to keep well meant families had onions available for cooking well past the growing season. Red Creole onions added depth to soups, stews, and pickles, and their color brightened any pantry. They were also a favorite for slicing raw over fresh vegetables or bread. Easy to grow and highly productive, the red Creole onion was valued as much for its practicality as for its flavor, securing its place in gardens year after year. Detroit Dark Red Beet. The Detroit Dark Red Beet was a staple for both its flavor and its staying power. Its deep crimson roots were sweet, earthy, and full of nutrients, making them valuable in diets where fresh produce was scarce. Grandparents would boil or roast them for dinner, pickle them for long-term storage, or slice them into salads. The greens were just as useful, cooked down with a bit of salt for a side dish. This variety thrived even in less than perfect soil, giving reliable harvests year after year. When stored in a cool cellar, the roots could last well into winter. For many families, the Detroit dark red was a crop that offered not just a harvest, but months of steady food. It was proof that with the right plants, a garden could be both beautiful and practical. Purple top white globe turnip. The purple top white globe turnip was as practical as it was attractive, with its purple shoulders and creamy white roots. This hardy vegetable grew quickly and stored well, making it a dependable choice for families stretching their resources. The roots could be boiled, mashed, or roasted, while the leafy greens were also edible, providing an extra source of vitamins. Turnips thrived in cool weather, allowing gardeners to plant early in spring and again in fall for multiple harvests. They tolerated a range of soils and still produced a good yield. In lean years, the purple top white globe turnip was valued for its versatility and ability to feed families well into the winter. It was a crop that proved beauty and utility could go hand in hand. Early Jersey Wakefield cabbage. The early Jersey Wakefield cabbage earned its place in countless gardens for its speed and flavor. Its compact, conical heads matured quickly, meaning families could enjoy fresh cabbage early in the season while waiting for other crops to ripen. The crisp leaves made it perfect for slaws, soups, and braised dishes, stretching meals at little cost. Gardeners valued its ability to thrive in cooler temperatures, allowing for early planting and dependable harvests. During the Depression, cabbage was a mainstay because it stored well and could be turned into sauerkraut, a fermented food that lasted through the winter. This variety was especially prized for its tenderness and sweet flavor, making it a favorite for both fresh eating and preservation. In hard times, the early Jersey Wakefield offered a steady, reliable supply of healthy greens straight from the garden. Hollow crown parsnip. Hollow crown parsnips were a winter treasure, sweetening after the first frost and providing a hearty root vegetable when gardens elsewhere had gone dormant. Their long, tapered roots reached deep into the soil, pulling up nutrients and flavor that made them ideal for roasting, mashing, or adding to stews. In the Great Depression, parsnips filled the gap between harvest seasons, offering a dependable source of calories and comfort. The hollow crown variety was particularly prized for its smooth texture and rich, nutty sweetness. These roots stored well in cellars, ensuring families had fresh food through the coldest months. For many households, parsnips were not just a crop, but a winter lifeline, proof that even the harshest seasons could yield something nourishing from the soil. Kirby Cucumber. The Kirby Cucumber was the go-to variety for pickling, and for good reason. Its small, bumpy fruits had the perfect crunch for making jars of crisp, tangy pickles that lasted all year. Families would gather baskets of Kirby's, wash them, and pack them tightly into jars with vinegar, dill, and spices. Beyond pickles, they were eaten fresh, sliced into salads, or enjoyed with a sprinkle of salt. The plants were hardy and prolific, often producing more cucumbers than a family could eat in one sitting. In Depression-era kitchens, pickled Kirby cucumbers were a welcome burst of flavor during long winters when fresh produce was scarce. They were proof that a little effort in the summer could bring months of enjoyment, turning simple garden bounty into a pantry full of bright, tangy treasures. Bloomsdale long-standing spinach. Bloomsdale long-standing spinach earned its place in gardens with its rich green leaves and remarkable resilience. It grew well in cooler weather and resisted bolting, giving families a longer harvest period than most varieties. Its crinkled, tender leaves were packed with vitamins, making it an important source of fresh greens during lean months. This spinach could be eaten raw in salads, cooked down into soups, or served simply with butter and salt. Gardeners loved how quickly it grew, often planting multiple successions for a steady supply. In the Depression era, when nutrition was as important as filling bellies, Bloomsdale spinach offered both. Its ability to thrive in modest soil and still deliver a flavorful, nourishing crop made it a quiet yet essential part of the Victory Garden tradition. Kerr's pink potato. Kerr's pink potatoes were cherished for their smooth texture and delicate flavor. With pale pink skins and creamy white flesh, they were a pleasure to cook and eat. Families boiled them for hearty stews, mashed them for Sunday dinners, or roasted them to bring out their natural sweetness. Gardeners appreciated their good yields and reliable performance in various soils. These potatoes stored well in a cool, dark place, providing food long after the harvest. In lean times, their versatility made them an important staple, easily paired with other garden vegetables or used as the base for filling soups. The Kerr's pink was a crop that not only nourished the body, but also brought a touch of comfort to the table, reminding families that even in difficult years, simple foods could be deeply satisfying. Arran Victory Potato. Arran Victory potatoes, with their distinctive bluish-purple skin and white flesh, were a prized crop for their flavor and resilience. Introduced during World War I and named to celebrate victory, they became a favorite in Depression-era gardens for their reliability in poor conditions. These potatoes stored well, ensuring a steady food supply long after harvest. Their floury texture made them perfect for mashing, baking, or frying, and they brought a splash of color to the kitchen before peeling. Families appreciated their dependable yields and ability to withstand the challenges of unpredictable weather. In years when other crops failed, Arran Victory often pulled through, offering comfort in the form of warm, filling meals. It was a variety that symbolized endurance, feeding both body and spirit through the leanest of times. Cherry Belle Radish. Cherry Belle radishes were the quick reward of the garden. Their bright red globes matured in just a few weeks, giving families something fresh to eat while waiting for slower crops. Crisp, peppery, and refreshing, they were enjoyed sliced into salads or eaten straight from the garden with a pinch of salt. Children often loved pulling them from the soil, the bright color promising a burst of flavor. These radishes thrived in cooler weather and could be planted multiple times in a season for steady harvests. While they did not last long, their speed and ease made them invaluable. In Depression-era gardens, Cherry Belle radishes brought early excitement and variety to meals, proving that even the smallest, simplest vegetables could make a big difference in both diet and morale. Pinto Bean. Pinto beans were a true workhorse in the garden and the kitchen. Their mottled tan and brown seeds were packed with protein, making them a valuable staple when meat was scarce. Families grew them in abundance, drying the harvest to last through the winter. Pinto beans were used in hearty soups, stews, and casseroles, or simply boiled with a bit of salt for a filling side dish. Their mild, earthy flavor paired well with almost anything, and their ability to store for months without spoiling made them indispensable. Gardeners valued how little space they required and how they improved the soil by adding nitrogen. In hard times, pinto beans provided dependable, nourishing meals that could stretch to feed large families. They were a simple crop that quietly sustained households year after year. Americans once leaned on these forgotten veggies to survive the hardest years, and many of them could Grandma's garden wasn't just a patch of soil. It was a lifeline. These 20 crops proved that even with pennies to spare, you could still eat well. If you had to bring one of them back to your table, which would it be? Share your pick below, and I will see you in the next video.